Over the past week, protests across Iran have intensified. People are demanding real change, an end to dictatorship and the establishment of a democratic republic. But online, a different story is being pushed, one that tries to redefine a nationwide uprising as a monarchist comeback. Suddenly, some clips are filled with pro-Pahlavi slogans like, "This is the final battle, Pahlavi will return," or "Long live the Shah." Eyewitnesses on the ground say these monarchist chants are not being heard in the streets at all. In many places, people chant slogans that reject both forms of dictatorship. They're not asking to swap one dictator for another. They are demanding freedom and a democratic republic. So where are these monarchy narrative clips coming from? Two forces amplify them again and again. First, the Iranian regime and its propaganda ecosystem, because the regime knows monarchist slogans discourage protesters and create confusion. The regime understands this narrative is not a real threat to its power. It's a tool. Second, Persian language outlets and networks that openly promote the return of the Pahlavi dictatorship, who circulate and amplify these clips daily. The method is simple but effective. Take real protest footage, keep the ambient sound so it feels authentic, and then dub it with staged pro-Pahlavi chants. For example, look at Zahedan. In the original clip, the crowd chants, "Death to the dictator." But in the doctored version, using the exact same protest footage, the chant becomes, "Reza, Reza Pahlavi, this is the national slogan." This was just one example. There are many more like it. This is not journalism, it is the deliberate manufacture of a false reality. But here's where the deception becomes impossible to ignore. These outlets don't just air hundreds of dubbed videos. In many cases, they take one specific dubbed clip, one real protest scene that has been altered with a pro-Pahlavi chant, and then broadcast it multiple times as if it happened in different cities, often on the same day. In other words, one manipulated protest video gets recycled into several separate protests, simply by changing the location label. Now, look at these examples. In this next example, the same clip appears first as a protest, on Malasadra Street in Shiraz. Then the exact same clip, with the same dubbed chant, appears again that day, labeled as Lahijan in northern Iran. And then the very same clip is shown again, still the same chant, this time labeled as Babel. Same footage, same chant. 3 different cities on the same day. Here's another case. One time it's presented as protests in Narmak in East Tehran. And then again, that same day, it's presented as protests in Mosheria in South Tehran. Same clip, same chant, 2 different locations. And another example, a clip appears labeled as protests in Yasuj. Then the same day, the exact same clip appears again labeled as Bushehr, a different province in southern Iran. This isn't a mistake. This is a system. It's not just misinformation. It's the theft of an uprising. Because the purpose is to trap Iranians in a false choice, either today's theocracy or yesterday's dictatorship. But the reality on the ground says something else. People are rejecting both and demanding a democratic alternative.